Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. We are here for another installment of Double Master Spoilers. This is technically part 2 to the video that I released late last night. It was released at around midnight my time. So this is the follow-up where in the previous video I said I was going to show you something really cool at the end of the video, but then the video went too long, so it ended. I'll show you the really cool thing at the end of this video. Don't worry, we'll have time for it, all right? So let us dive into the continuation of Double Master Spoilers. We have Baleful Strix, which has been on the screen the whole time, and it's 1 black, 1 blue for a 1/1 flying death touch bird. When Baleful Strix enters the battlefield, draw a card. The flavor text says, its beak rends flesh and bone, exposing the tender marrow of dream. This is probably the most terrifying bird in Magic the Gathering. Like, first of all, it looks like it's made out of like rusted metal and verdigris, and it's like horrifically unnatural, mimicking something natural. And just the idea, like, this is at least a partial Ethereum construct. It feels like it comes from the world of Alara, right? Like, this feels like an Ethereum infused bird. And the idea that it wants to like feed on your dreams, but to do that it has to rend your flesh and bone. That's intense, like genuinely intense. The artwork I've always found unsettling. Very well done. And the idea of the card overall is good, along with the power level of the card. I mean, you get a lot packed together for 2 mana. It can destroy anything it interacts with. It replaces itself. Like, that's good. Okay, let's move on to the next card. I'm too scared to look at that one anymore. Let's talk about Blinkmoth Nexus. So this is a land that taps for a colorless. You can pay 1 and it turns into a 1/1 Blinkmoth artifact creature with flying until end of turn. And the Blinkmoths are all those tiny little balls of light you can see flying around, right? So it's 1 and tap, target Blinkmoth creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So this isn't actually a play on the old Mishra's Factory concept, where they had lands that turned into creatures, but they could also pump each other. Although this is in some ways stronger because it makes a flyer, and in some ways weaker because you have to actually pay and tap the creature. Because I'm pretty sure the original you could just tap it, and it was a 2/2. So, but still, this is a solid card. This is a very solid card, and the artwork just depicts a bunch of Blinkmoths zipping around on Mirrodin. It's all right artwork. Moving on, we've got another location on Mirrodin. This is the Glimmer Void. So this is a land that says at the beginning of the end step, if you control no artifacts, sacrifice Glimmer Void, tap it to add 1 mana of any color. An empty canvas holds infinite possibilities. So for a lot of decks, this is useless. But if you're playing with old school powerful cards, there's tons of artifacts. So this just straight up operates as a land that taps for any color with no real drawback. The artwork's pretty funky. You've got the metallic kind of planes of Mirrodin, and you've got multiple of the suns of Mirrodin reflecting off and creating this crazy light sheen across it. I dig it. You know, it's some all right artwork. After that, we've got Champion of Holt. Ooh, a delicious green card. 2 green and 1 for a 1/1. Creatures with power less than hers can't block creatures you control. And whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Champion of Holt. What's not to love, dude? This thing grows every time you put another creature out. Love that. It makes it so that all your opponent's creatures that are weaker than this can't block. It's so good. This is fantastic. I always look at her and think of her as an elf, though, as opposed to a human warrior. And I love the whole like nighttime sky with all the stars and everything, and how it almost looks like your hair is flowing out to it. And like when you take that, it feels kind of peaceful and serene, but then you move down in the artwork and she's got this big vicious halberd and you're like, okay, never mind. Very cool card. I like this a lot. Moving on, we've got Grim Lavamancer. 1 red for a 1/1. Pay 1 red, tap it, exile 2 cards from your graveyard. It deals 2 damage to any target. It says, fools dig for water, corpses are gold. The earth's real treasure is far deeper. And obviously he means lava, which he can pull up to the surface and cause to like bend to his will. And he can literally magmify anything you have laying around. Broken artifacts, broken people, whatever it is, he can turn them into pure magmatic magic. That's pretty intense. And he looks really intimidating with that like sort of cool aspect to him where he looks all blue, but you've got an angry volcano erupting behind him. I dig the artwork. He's got his hand out thrust like he's about to send some lava just spilling all over you. What a terrible way to go. No, thank you. All right, no thanks. Not interested. Then we've got exploration. This is 1 green. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. This is an enchantment, right? It sits in play and lets you lay a land, an extra land, every single turn. This is pretty amazing. I mean, we've seen creatures with this ability, but it's completely different when it's an enchantment, so it's harder to get rid of, and you can play it on the first turn. It's really, really powerful. Flavor text says, with every step she took, a new world unfolded before her. Yes, before her. All right, man. I dig the artwork on this a lot. Like, look at the scale of what she's looking at versus her. She's this tiny little person, and it's like she's found this gigantic, like, lotus that's cradling an inner lotus. Like, it looks like the outer lotus is in the process of unfurling, and it's showing this mystical lotus glowing in the middle, or just some other bloom. The artwork's really, really striking. I like it. It's set in like an evening sort of scenario. So this light up plant, it would be so mystical. How insane would that be? You know, just the size and majesty of it, the splendor. I love the flavor of this artwork. It does feel otherworldly. And one of the things I love about Magic the Gathering is thinking about exploring different planes of existence and what you would encounter. So this is awesome. I dig this very much. After that, we've got Expedition Map with a very specialized art. This is the rare version of, I presume it's a common in the set. So 1 mana to put out, 2 and tap, sacrifice it to search your library for a land card, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Obviously, that goes magnificently with the Urzas lands, which we touched on in the previous spoiler video where we talked about the fact that they were likely to be reprinted. Now that we have it confirmed, we actually have some really awesome artwork for them that we're going to talk about at the end of the video. All right, so flavor text for Expedition Map says, let's see, I've been here, 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 and here. Where's next? Olam Tireless Traveler. That's, okay. A guy went a bunch of places on the map. I guess it's a joke? I don't know. Either way, the artwork is nice. The map looks fantastic. You got the compass, and I'm not sure what the purpose of the little, like, clampy looking sort of thing that they have off to the side there is. I don't know, but the compass looks pretty dope, and the map itself looks great. So the flavor, it all makes sense. A map to go and find a particular land, that all adds up. Flavor is good, and the artwork overall, like the whole card looks nice. Speaking of cards that look nice, oh, Sword of War and Peace. This variation of it is gorgeous, man. So it's a 3 casting cost artifact. They actually did a cycle of a bunch of these different swords. So this one gives +2/+2 and protection from red and white. And bear in mind, what you're getting for this card, it only costs 2 to equip it. 3 put out, 2 to equip. Equipped creature gets +2/+2, protection from red and white. And whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, Sword of War and Peace deals damage to that player equal to the number of cards in their hand, and you gain 1 life for each card in your hand. It's bonkers. The life swing that cards like this can give are absolutely incredible. And there was a time in Standard where people would take tiny little birds and then strap multiple of these swords to them, call it Cawblade, and send giant birds with wings made of swords flying at people. I remember those days, but this artwork didn't exist in that time, and I love it. The artwork looks so cool, man. You've got like the dual blades. You've got the red side of it represented by this crazy flaming jaggedish blade at the bottom, and the white side of it has a very cool and like almost sterile feel to it, you know? But the really striking part is that it's been driven straight through a massive column. Like, it looks like the sword was used to set all the fires that are going on around, and then just hurled into a column with incredible force. But at the same time, it's a testament to the power of the magic of the blades that they didn't snap when they hit the collar. They actually slid so deep into it. How awesome is that? This is a great card with some awesome artwork. Now, I said at the end of the video we would talk about something dope, and here it is. We're going to talk about the Urza lands, because they redid the Urza lands with brand new artwork, and it looks amazing. So first up is Urzas Mine, all right? Now, this is, if you don't know what these are, because you didn't see the other video and you've never seen these before, it's a series of 3 lands that all go together, okay? So this land taps for 1 colorless, or if you control an Urzas power plant and an Urzas Tower, you add 2 colorless instead, right? So it doubles production just by you having these other 2 lands. And the flavor text says, in his hunger for power and knowledge, Urza dug deep into Dominaria's ancient past. He sure did, man. He went digging around for the Thran and all kinds of stuff. And we're going to cover that all in lore videos on my other channel, which we can talk about right after this. So, the Urzas Mine looks nice. We're not going to get too deep into the artwork overall, because once we go through each card, we actually have the full artwork together, and it's much nicer. So we've got Urza's power plant. This one's the same deal. Tap, add a colorless. If you control an Urza's Mine and an Urzas Tower, add 2 colorless instead. Flavor text says, Urza threw himself into his research, pushing the boundaries of both possibility and morality. That's one of the most fascinating things about Urza, is some of the stuff he does, you go, this is wrong, man. Like, you understand underneath why he's doing what he does. And you know he's not a bad person, but he makes some really awful choices. And I love that. It adds such depth to the character. We don't see that sort of like more human aspected kind of planeswalker anymore that feels like something you can identify with. The planeswalkers they make now don't have that depth. Do you know what I mean? They're all meant to be aspirational heroes, which is fine, but it's not the same as connecting with someone on a we understand each other's flaws, and it just makes for more meaningful storytelling to me. That's a personal thing, right? The power plant looks pretty funky here. Let's move on. Talk about the tower for a second here. Urza's Tower, tap, add for a colorless. If you control an Urza's Mine and an Urza's power plant, add 3 colors instead, because just having 2 from them wasn't enough. It's absolutely bonkers. You get out all 3 lands, 7 mana. Absolutely nuts. Flavor text says, Urza studied the creations of the Thran, not simply to learn from them, but to surpass them. The Thran turned, like, Urza worshipped the Thran, and he was trying to use Thran technology to destroy the Phyrexians, without knowing that the Phyrexians are essentially what the Thran turned into. The Phyrexians are the descendants of the Thran. So he's literally fighting this battle where he's like, I must destroy the Phyrexians. I wish I could get the Thran to help me. And it's like, you're fighting the Thran, bro. Like, it's a crazy cool story. So when it comes to all of these artworks, we got them and Karn in a giant, beautiful piece of art that I'm going to put up on the screen now. So you can see on the left-hand side, you have the mine, which looks very minish, but notice that there's like a blue line of magical energy running out to it that runs over to the power plant. And you can see there are multiple energy lines running out of the power plant that are leading over to the tower as well. Like, they're all connected with these kind of like created mana ley lines. They're not naturally existing ley lines, but they have that kind of a vibe. So you've got the mine, you've got the power plant, you've got the tower, and then over to the side, you have Karn. Poor sweet Karn. He's been through so much. His existence is a nightmare, especially so far in the lore. Karn has witnessed the loss of his best friend, the destruction of his home. All this awful stuff has happened to Karn. We're actually 5 episodes deep into the Karn lore, which is what I'm doing over on my second channel. We've moved all the story lore, or in the process of, depending on when you see this video, we're moving all the story lore over there so you can just enjoy the beautiful stories on their own. So I'm gonna link that channel in the description if you're curious to learn about the awful things that happen to Karn, and worse things are going to happen to Karn. Do you know at one point Urza just trades Karn away? No, not caring that Karn has free will or anything else. He just trades him away like you trade away a handful of marbles. It's crazy. The story gets nuts, and I'm going to keep delivering more and more of it over on the other channel. So feel free to come on by. It's brand new, and you're welcome to be there. Speaking of being there, thanks for coming and hanging out with me here, checking out these spoilers. Hope you had a good time. Let me know in the comments below which cards you like the most, and also what's been best about your day so far, because I do enjoy the positivity in these trying times. So thanks for coming by again, and I shall see you all soon.